What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. This first story, I'm only throwing it here because I like to hate just as much as other people like to hate on the internet. So let's go ahead and do it. The artist formerly known as Robert Griffin III, we now call him Bob Griffin III, has decided to throw his hat in the ring of Tyreek race shenanigans, right? We know Tyreek has been on a Jake Paul esque racing tour against, you know, low level sprinters, Instagrammers, YouTubers. We know the vibes, right? We mentioned that Tyreek and I Show Speed were supposed to have a race before. Speed didn't show up for the race. All good. Now, in that, since I said that last time, Speed has raced a couple of other people. So it's not like, oh, I'm just not racing him off that. He's like, I'm just not racing Tyreek. I'm going to go around the world and race a bunch of other people. So he's been running, living his best life, being one of the biggest YouTuber streamers in the world right now. Shout out to I Show Speed. Bob Griffin decided he wants to throw his hat in this whole situation and said, "Hey man, if I train Speed, I can make sure he'll beat Tyreek." That's what Bob Griffin III had to say. This is an absurdity. First of all, why are you involved in this? Now I have my reasons for why I think he's involved, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But as far as I know, Bob Griffin has never trained anybody on getting faster. If you don't remember, he played quarterback in the NFL. Yes, he was a sprinter at one point, but since he got done sprinting at that point, I have never heard about him speed training with anybody. I haven't heard about him training anybody. I haven't even seen him doing quarterback drills with anybody. He's just been a player, then turned analyst. All of a sudden, he sees a little bit of fame over there with Tyreek and some of the YouTubers. It's like, yo, let me throw my hat in the ring. Now, I will tell you why I believe that Bob Griffin III is even talking about this. He's dealing with a lot of heat right now after his multiple Angel Reese comments, and he's decided that let me get the heat off of me by trying to do something light and fun. We not buying it, bro. We not buying it. We know who you are. Your name has already been changed. I almost put it in the bottom third, Bob Griffin, but I didn't have enough space to do it. So I left it as RG3 only for space purposes, but we know the vibes. This is nothing more than you trying to grab on to some of the love. Tyreek even shouted out, like, yo, RG3 be on nonsense. LOL. He's not giving any real consideration. I have not heard Speed even jump out and say anything. As far as I know, Speed and RG3, excuse me, Bob Griffin III, not even cool like that. Just threw it out there like, yo, that kid's pretty fast. If I train him, he could beat Tyreek. This is the very reason why I didn't want any shenanigans around all these races to even come about, because this is gonna probably die right now. But let's say Speed's like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's take him up an offer. And now him and Bob Griffin are doing run training. And now they're in Miami. And now Tyreek's thinking about it more. I don't want to deal with any more of this. I'm totally fine with Tyreek doing real races against actual sprinters. I assume he's doing speed training to get ready for the year. Cool. All these other little ancillary things are just taken away from the season, trying to get some of the heat off Bob Griffin, and we're not here for that. We know what you're up to, bro. We see it, and we're not here for it. And the reason I think Speed hasn't come out and said anything is because he's doing just fine. As far as I know, outside of Noah Lyles, Speed is beating everyone he's raced. So he's obviously fast enough to be faster than like actual fast people. Maybe not sprinter level fast people, but that, again, those are literally the fastest people in the world. If you're a professional sprinter, you're in the top 1 to 2% of fast people in the world. That's what you do for a living. And Noah Lyles, up until this past weekend, was the 100-meter fastest guy in the world. He just lost the race, but he's not in shape. That's fine. But we know where Speed is. He's way faster than regular people, faster than probably even former athlete and fast people, but not as fast as the elites. Totally cool. He literally does YouTube and travels the world, and he's that fast. More props to you. But Bob Griffin, you don't have any place at this table. You can leave. We not here for it. Also in today's news, Noah Fant has been cut by the Seattle Seahawks. And as soon as that happened, of course, X, Twitter, whatever blew up. Everybody being like, yo, man, Noah Fant's out there. What's up, Miami? This is tight end y'all been looking for. I will be 100% honest with you guys. When I heard Noah Fant was available, I said, ooh, I got excited. I was like, man, I like Noah Fant. Noah Fant's really good. Noah Fant is one of those tight ends that if you don't look at his stats and you just know football, you know who he is, and you think of him in decently high esteem. You obviously know he's not a top 5 tight end. You think he's somewhere probably between 6 and 20. more than serviceable, can have breakout games, but more or less somewhere in the middle. I had to go look at his stats. Here's what I found out. Noah Fant has not had more than 4 touchdowns in any season in his career. Four is the max, which I'm not gonna lie to you, shocked me. Also, never had 700 yards receiving. Here's the wildest part. He's played the full season in 4 of his 6 years, and one of those other two that he didn't play the full season missed one game. So he's played a lot of football to not get 700 yards and at least 5 touchdowns. But when I saw the name, like most of y'all, I was like, yo, man, Noah Fant, that would be great. He's 6'4, 250, got a little bit of speed. He'll fit perfectly in the offense. He's super productive. And then I looked it up, not so much. But no shade to Noah Fant. It's just, I guess he's been on offenses where they didn't throw the ball as much. With the Seattle offense, they were very wide receiver heavy with Jackson Smith and Jigba, with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and then Kenneth Walker running the ball. They were spreading the wealth to other people. He was like the fifth option on offense sometimes. Totally cool. And then Charbonnet, really good backup running back, fantasy sleeper. But so sometimes he was the fifth, maybe sixth option on offense. Totally get why he didn't do it there. Denver, they had quarterback issues. We know what happened over there. If you went to Denver now, you'd probably be great, but that's neither here nor there. Here's the thing. Now that he's available, I don't know how many teams in the league really need a tight end. Like, like there are a few teams that can maybe upgrade a little bit. Noah Fant maybe a little bit better than what they have. The Dolphins are kind of betting the house on an unknown commodity with Darren Waller, right? Been out. Last time he played was very injury prone. What we know about Noah Fant, super healthy. Like he averages 16 games a year. So he's super healthy. Decent blocker, can get down the field, big body target. He checks all those boxes. Is he explosive? No. Is he as good as John New? No. But much cheaper, solid, and at this point in his career, let's be honest, probably better than Darren Waller. The issue is the Dolphins only have about $2.5 million in cap space. So we really can't afford him unless he literally is playing for scraps. Don't see that, right? Like he's going into, I think, age 28, 29 year, which means he's getting toward the end of his tight end career. If we give him a 1 and 2 year deal, he may have one more contract after that, and then he most likely be working on TV. I think there's someone in the league who thinks they can use him for a little bit more money than what we have to offer him. Can the Dolphins do something creatively with money? Don't know. I mean, Chris Greer's been out here willing and dealing, and we made some moves I didn't see coming. Could there be a contract restructure on the way? I would love to see that happen. We're going to get into that later with the comments. But right now, we can't just go get him. I know people on Twitter, go get him, Miami. It's like, well, we can't. Unless he's like, yeah, I'll pay for 1 year, $2 million. Which, why would he do that? I think he can get at least 4, maybe even up to 5. And we're already willing to pay Jonnu 4. So I think that's probably our number. We're not going to pay any tight end more than 4. If he's willing to come in for low level money and just play in an offense where he can, I would love it. They make no mistake about it. No Noah hate on this side. I'm just saying realistically, I'm thinking a team like the Commanders, who Zach Ertz is like 107 years old. They have a young quarterback who's cheap still. They're building their defense up right now for sure. But if they think Zach Ertz is like, maybe on his way out, maybe go to a 2 tight end set. I think he works very well over there, and they can certainly offer more money than us. They have more money. There are a few other teams like Carolina could use maybe a tight end. They have a couple younger tight ends, but there's a few that we think he can go somewhere else. I'm looking forward to seeing if Chris Greer's like, I'm sure they've already been on the phone, like, hey, you want to pay for like the minimum? And if he's saying no, is there a couple little restructures we can do? Maybe get some money off the books. Can we wheel and deal just a little bit? If he says 1 year, $3 million, with maybe $2 million in incentives, and he ends up getting essentially the same deal as Darren Waller, totally here for it. Totally here for it. I think it'd be great. They can push each other. And let's be honest, we all kind of think Darren Waller won't finish the year healthy. We all kind of feel it. So if we have Noah Fant, who has shown to be an Iron Man, he is going to play his lowest games per one season is 14 games. That's his lowest. Everything else, basically full season. So we know he's most likely playing. Darren Waller, not so much. If we can get both of them on the team, I love having them both more or less on pitch counts or pitch count. And you can maybe keep Darren Waller a little bit healthier because he'll be on the field for less minutes. And then Noah Fant is a better receiving tight end option than Farrell Brown is. I'm here for it. Hopefully we can find some money. We'll see what happens. All right, we're getting back to our top 25 in the last 25. And number 18 is one of those. He's great. He's been great for the team, or he was great for the team, but it doesn't get talked about enough because other people were really good as well. It's one of those situations, right? So number 18 is going to be Brock Marian, who was a cornerback back in the good old days when the Dolphins defense had a great secondary. Back when we had Sam Madison and Pat Surtain, the senior. I wasn't going to say the first, but that doesn't make any sense. The original Pat Surtain, now his son is the best corner in the league, and then Sam Madison, who are almost undoubtedly the two best corners in Dolphin history, all play at the same time. And then Brock Marion was the third corner, which is crazy because if he was on a different team, he would have been DB1, maybe DB2. For the time he played with the Dolphins, he had a 4-year stretch where he had 18 picks. That's crazy when you're playing with two other great corners. That means that people were probably testing him a lot, thinking, I'm not trying to throw the ball at Madison. That's cool. Brock got it. All right. We got you on this side. He was a Pro Bowler at one point, super healthy, like just an unsung hero in a lot of respects. Because again, if you have a good corner, it would be like when Darrell Revis was great. If Antonio Cromartie sucked, then the Jets defense wouldn't have been good. People just would have avoided Revis and just kept going at Cromartie. But when you're like, all right, I can't hit Sam, all right, I can't hit a Shatan, I'll just hit the slot. And it's like, no, you won't, because this slot is locked down. We had multiple top 10 defenses, multiple playoff appearances. People really couldn't throw on the Dolphins defense for real, for real. We had issues, scoring. We had issues at quarterback, with a couple Feelies, Fiedlers, and we had some other issues on the team. But that secondary, not an issue. Those boys is locked down. And it's good to like give love to people who play in the early 2000s who weren't like borderline Hall of Famers because you almost forget how good they were because time has passed. You can make a legitimate case that Brock Marion in the last 25 years is the third best Dolphins corner behind the other two who are guests. Of course, are going to be on the top probably 10 of this list. But along with Xavier Howard, who as a singular year, Xavier Howard probably had the best singular season. But for his tenure with the Dolphins, he got a little rocky at the end. Jalen Ramsey was solid this whole time here, but was never like at the level that he was when he played with the Jaguars, for instance, right? Brock was more consistent. He was good throughout. He put up the stats. He made the Pro Bowl. He fortified the defense. I think you can arguably say he's the third best corner in the last 25 years. That's why he's number 18 on the list. Shout out to Brock. Um, yeah, shout out to you. You go jump to the comments because the Noah Fant conversation led a whole bunch of people to talk during social media. And a lot of the conversation was, yo, he would be great for the team, but we can't afford him. And then a lot of people were like, yeah, we can't afford him because of Tua. So the questions that kept popping up are, can the Dolphins not make their team better because Tua asked for a bigger contract? I guess maybe more succinctly, is our cap issue due to Tua being greedy for money? It's an odd way to phrase the question. This is what has been true amongst quarterbacks for the last 5 years. When your time is up, you get the money. That's kind of how it works. It's not necessarily that I deserve this much money. The way the players' executive bargaining thing kind of works out is that if, let's say, Tua said, I'll take less money, then that would have screwed over Brock Purdy because then San Fran would have been like, well, we think Tua's your comp and he took less money. So now you get less money. And then when Kirk Cousins was a free agent and as it keeps going down the line, like they start trying to slot you in weird places. As the money keeps going up, everybody gets more money. And you're incentivized to get more money, not only just for you, but also for the people who get their contracts behind you. And so you have not just your own agent trying to make their money because they have to. You as a player want to make your money because, of course, you want to be generationally rich. But if you don't make your money, you screw over everybody behind you, which is why all these DNs now are saying, hey, reset the market. That's what everybody said. Once Nick Bosa got like 34 million a few years back. After that, it's been 35, 36, 30. It's just kept jumping up and up and up. And now Michael Parsons is going to be probably 41 and a half, 42. And then in 2 or 3 years, it's going to be, hey, I gotta get 44, 45. Jamar Chase, he said, what's the number one receiver right now? 35. I want 40. Guess what's going to happen in 2 or 3 years? Maybe Marvin Harrison, maybe Brian Thomas Jr., maybe Justin Jefferson gets another contract. It's going to be more than 40. It just keeps going up. The cornerbacks, Sauce Gardner just got the biggest cornerback contract. When whoever the next big time D tackle is, they're going to get more money than Chris Jones. That's how it works. So when Tua came up, He didn't even try to reset the market. He asked for where he thought he was slotted, which is right around Jared Goff money, which is cool. He didn't get more than Herbert. He didn't get more than Lamar. He didn't get more than Josh, Joe. He deserved more than Trevor Lawrence, but that's Jacksonville's poorly run. So we can't read too much into what they did. But what he wanted was where he thought he deserved to be. Jordan Love got right around the same amount of money. So could he have asked for less money? Yeah, of course he could. He's like, "Give me. I don't want all the money I can get." Yes, he could have. But there's more obligations than just that. It's up to the team to figure out how to structure that money, right? Because you can give him that amount of money and you can push money to the back. You can give him a lot of money up front. You can give him a longer term deal. Look at Patrick. Patrick Mahomes got a 10-year deal when he signed his deal with Kansas City. 10 years, 450 million. I think it could be up to like over 500 million. But the way they did it, because the contract is so long, they can every other year move the amount of money they pay him up and down to kind of adjust their cap. So when their cap is chilling, they can give him more. If they need some money to make some moves, we'll push it back. They gave themselves maximum flexibility. Some teams like Dallas gave, I think, Dak like 70 million his first year. But now that means on the back end of Dak's deal, they can wheel and deal a little bit more. If the Dolphins were super concerned about the cap, because we knew we had Xavier with cap issues. I don't know if they knew about Jalen Ramsey getting traded, but that was going to lead to cap issues at some point. Um, had they thought that far ahead, they could have done something with Tua's deal where we gave him the same amount of money, but we just pushed it and just moved it around a little bit more. And that's why people in the offseason were talking about, well, they're really trying to make a move this year, restructure Tua's deal, push the money around, and then go out and make a big move. And Chris Greer's been like, no, we are where we are. We're gonna rebuild through the draft. We're gonna get young or experienced 1 year people, try to hit some lightning in the bottle, build it from there. So I don't begrudge Tua at all, personally. I know a lot of people do. I don't. I think he did what was best for him. He did what was best for, I guess, his position group, and he didn't break the bank. I don't begrudge that. Now, when you pay a quarterback, it does mean you're limited in other places. So is Tua to blame that we don't have money for Noah Fant? No, the Dolphins have mismanaged money, specifically with cornerbacks, really between Kendall and Xavier and Jalen Ramsey. Like we've not been great with the secondary guys. Don't get me started with Byron. We haven't done great with managing those people's contracts. So maybe this is like upper management mismanagement. Because how we manage the books better. I mean, look at all the teams. Cincinnati has issues on defense, of course, but Kansas City has consistently put a good team out. Baltimore has a good team. Buffalo has a good team. They're paying their quarterbacks. Philadelphia's paying Jalen Hurts and apparently 57 other people. So you can do it. We haven't done it well because we did some other bad contracts. I don't blame Tua for this. I think if the Dolphins really want to bring in Noah Fant, which I haven't. I mean, this happened today, so we'll see tomorrow. By the time you see this, what's going on? Always got to look ahead. If the Dolphins really want to get Noah Fant, they will find a way to make it happen. They'll either restructure his deal or Jalen Waddle, or they'll talk to Jalen Phillips. They'll move. They'll figure out how to do it. But I don't blame Tua. And the way it works out, that after next year, if they want to get off Tua, they can do it with a very minor hit to the team. And I think that's why the deal was built the way it was. That it's going to be a big cap hit, a big cap hit every year, but it only is like a 3-year cap hit. And then that fourth year, they can kind of get out of it. So it gives the team more flexibility long term, but short term, yeah, it kind of puts us in a bind. But I blame that more on the team negotiating than I do on Tua. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.